On April 23, 1348, a peculiar event unfolded in the royal court of King Edward III. A new order was founded, one that would become known as the Order of the Garter. But why did this king establish such an order? And what secrets does its name hold? The name Order of the Garter is unusual and has sparked many theories. Some believe it refers to a lady's garter, or perhaps to straps used by knights to secure their armor. Imagine a time when chivalry was not just an ideal, but a way of life. In this world of knights and kings, the Order of the Garter stood out. King Edward III was a key figure in shaping medieval Britain. He founded the Order of the Garter in 1348, and it remains the oldest order of chivalry in Britain today. The order originally included the king, the Prince of Wales, and 12 companions, each known as Knights Companion. Today, the order is led by King Charles III and includes additional royal knights and ladies from the royal family. The order has evolved to include extra members from the royal family and a few foreign monarchs appointed as stranger knights. As we delve deeper into this story, you will discover the reasons behind the founding of this order and how it has maintained its significance through centuries. The Order of the Garter is more than just a historical relic. It is a living testament to medieval traditions that have stood the test of time. Before we begin, a small request. Most of the people listening tonight aren't subscribed. If this channel has ever helped you drift off, take a moment to subscribe. It's free, it helps this channel more than you'd think, and you can always change your mind later. And if you feel like it, leave a comment telling me where in the world you're listening from and what time it is where you are. I love reading them. One more thing before we begin. I'm also a co-founder of a sleep app built to be the most affordable one out there. No ads, ever. Just sounds and stories made to help you sleep. It may not be released yet as this video goes up, but if you're watching a little later, it might be out by now. Just search for it. It should be easy to find. It works on iPhone, Android, and everything in between. Downloading it is the best way to support this channel. On April 23rd, a special day is celebrated in England, St. George's Day. This isn't just any saint's day, it's the celebration of the patron saint of England, St. George. St. George is a significant symbol for a unique medieval tradition, the Royal Order of the Garter. Founded by King Edward III in 1348, this order honors St. George's legacy. So why did King Edward III choose to honor St. George with such a prestigious order? St. George's tale is one of valor and bravery, set in a time when England was facing great challenges. In the medieval world, heroes like St. George embodied the ideals of chivalry, qualities King Edward III sought to uphold. Celebrating St. George's Day every April 23rd keeps this legacy alive, reminding us of the enduring spirit of England's patron saint. As he bent to pick it up, he declared, "Honi soit qui mal y pense," which translates to, "Shame on him who thinks ill of it." The phrase became the order's motto. Whether this is a true account or a romanticized tale, the stray garter myth has added a touch of mystery to the order's history. At the heart of this ancient order lies the garter itself, a blue velvet band adorned with the motto, "Honi soit qui mal y pense" in gold letters. This distinctive symbol is worn by members known as Knights Companion or Ladies Companion of the Garter. Knights don this blue velvet band on their left leg, while ladies adorn their left arm with it. The placement of the garter on opposite limbs emphasizes the duality and balance within the order, a symbolic gesture that has persisted through time. Among the 24 companion knights or ladies in the Order of the Garter, excluding royal and foreign members, each bears the mark of this enduring tradition. The rituals and traditions of the Order of the Garter serve as a testament to its enduring legacy, a legacy that continues to fascinate and inspire. The rich symbolism and practices of this ancient order illustrate a world where chivalry and honor are not just ideals, but living traditions that have stood the test of time. The appointments to this exclusive order are made in the sovereign's gift. This means that the monarch holds the ultimate authority over who is inducted into the order. Throughout history, only 24 companions have been allowed at any given time. These select few are chosen for their exceptional public service and their embodiment of the values held dear by the order. Despite its exclusivity, the order has endured for centuries, symbolizing the enduring importance of chivalric values in the monarchical landscape. Understanding how this elite society has evolved over centuries offers a glimpse into the changing nature of power and the timeless appeal of honorable traditions. The castle's Grand St. George's Chapel plays host to this solemn yet magnificent event, which begins with a procession of knights and ladies, companions of the Garter. The procession is led by the prelate and chancellor of the order, followed by the king himself, who serves as sovereign of the Garter. The chapel fills with a sense of history and reverence as the knights and ladies take their places, ready to participate in the service that celebrates their membership in this elite order. The pomp and circumstance of the Garter ceremony at Windsor Castle serves as a reminder of the enduring power of tradition and the timeless appeal of honorable service. Today, the Order of the Garter consists of the Queen, her consort, the Prince of Wales, and just 24 knight companions. But who were some of these famous knights? The young prince fought alongside his father in the 100 Years' War and was known for his bravery on the battlefield. He was only 16 when he was knighted and inducted into the Order of the Garter, becoming one of its first members. The Black Prince's membership in the order reflected not just his valor, but also his father's desire to instill a sense of honor and chivalry in him from an early age. This tradition of recognizing noble warriors has continued for centuries, making the order a hallmark of medieval and modern British history alike. But it's not just about military prowess. Members are also chosen for their service to the crown and their commitment to upholding the values of chivalry. This blend of martial skill and civic duty is what has kept the order relevant over the years, drawing notable figures from various walks of life. And so, the legacy of famous knights like the Black Prince continues to inspire new generations, making the Order of the Garter not just a relic of the past, but a living tradition that defines British nobility. This blend of history and contemporary relevance is what makes the order so compelling, a story that spans ages, yet remains deeply rooted in the present day. One of the earliest examples of female membership was Queen Elizabeth II, who became a lady companion of the Garter in 1965. Her appointment marked a significant shift. Women were now recognized for their public service and contributions to the realm, not just as consorts or daughters of noblemen. Since then, several notable women have been appointed to the order, each bringing their unique contributions and legacy. One such figure is Lady Mary Ferguson. As a royal consort and philanthropist, she has been actively involved in various charitable works, furthering the order's mission of service. Beyond the royal circle, other women have also left their mark on the Order of the Garter. Dame Mary Berry, a prominent chef and writer, was appointed for her services to the culinary arts and charitable work. Her appointment underscores that the order values not just military or political service, but also cultural and philanthropic contributions from all walks of life. Through these female members, the Order of the Garter has evolved to reflect a broader spectrum of service and accomplishment. Women's membership in the order not only honors their individual achievements, but also enriches its collective legacy. As we look back at these women and their contributions, it's clear that the Order of the Garter is more than just a historical relic. It's a living tradition that continues to evolve and inspire. One of the earliest examples is King Philip VI of France, who was inducted into the order in 1348, a year after its founding. This appointment signified a crucial alliance between England and France during the early stages of the 100 Years' War. In more recent times, foreign monarchs such as King Harald V of Norway have been appointed to the order, underscoring its enduring relevance in modern international relations. The influence of the order extends beyond political alliances into cultural exchanges. The traditions and symbols of the Garter have inspired similar orders of chivalry across Europe, reflecting a shared medieval heritage. For instance, the Order of the Thistle in Scotland, founded centuries later, draws from the same ideals of honor and chivalry, echoing the spirit of the Garter. Beyond Europe, the order's prestige has been acknowledged in various ways. The United States, for example, has featured the insignia of the order on some of its earliest currency and stamps, highlighting the deep respect for the tradition. Its establishment and continuation have profound economic and financial implications that have shaped the kingdom's fortunes over centuries. Founding an order of chivalry like the Garter was no small endeavor. The initial costs were substantial. Consider the expenses: lavish ceremonies, intricately designed regalia, and the construction of a dedicated chapel at St. George's. However, these investments were not mere extravagances. They held deep symbolic value and reinforced the power of the monarchy. The economic benefits were manifold. The rituals attracted wealthy nobles who sought prestige and recognition within the order. These noblemen brought with them significant wealth and influence, bolstering the kingdom's finances and strengthening its alliances. Over time, the maintenance of the order required a steady influx of resources. Yet, it remained a symbol of national unity and pride. Throughout the centuries, the order has been supported by endowments, royal patronage, and the contributions of its members. This financial backing ensured that the traditions and rituals could continue, preserving a tangible link to England's medieval past. Understanding the financial underpinnings of the order helps explain its enduring appeal and significance in both medieval and modern times. The symbolism of the Order of the Garter is as rich and varied as its history. At the heart of this tradition lies the Garter itself, a simple piece of clothing that has become a powerful symbol. This humble item has evolved into an emblem that signifies chivalry, honor, and loyalty, values central to medieval courtly culture. This phrase, meaning "shame on him who thinks this evil," serves as a reminder of the order's ideals and the knight's solemn vows. Throughout the centuries, artists have interpreted this symbol in diverse ways, from intricate tapestries to grand architectural features. These depictions not only celebrate the order's founding, but also reflect the artistic styles and cultural norms of their times. By exploring these symbolic and artistic representations, we gain insight into how the order's meaning has been preserved and adapted through visual culture. This prolonged conflict, sparked by Edward's claim to the French throne, would shape his entire approach to kingship. Edward III ascended the English throne in January 1327, and by his teenage years, he was already setting his sights on France. His claims stemmed from his mother Isabella, who was the sister of the late King Charles IV of France. The Hundred Years' War began in earnest with Edward's invasion of France in 1337. This war was not just about territorial expansion, it was deeply rooted in dynastic rivalries and the complex politics of medieval Europe. Back home in England, Edward faced internal challenges too. His reign was marked by political unrest and the need to secure loyalty among his nobles. The order served a dual purpose: to celebrate military prowess and to foster unity among the knights who were essential for his campaigns. It was more than just a symbol, it was a strategic tool to bolster loyalty and morale. This political context underscores how the founding of the order was not just an act of chivalry, but a calculated move to strengthen his position during a time of great upheaval. The order's legacy endures as a testament to Edward III's vision of unity and honor in the face of adversity. The medieval world was one of knights and chivalry, where the code of conduct on and off the battlefield held immense significance. At its heart lay the concept of chivalry, a set of ideals that guided warriors in their quest for honor. Chivalry, derived from the French chivalry, encompassed courage, loyalty, and service to others. It was not merely about valor in combat, but also about upholding ethical standards. These principles were essential for the effective functioning of armies during medieval warfare. Discipline and adherence to a moral code could mean the difference between victory and defeat. Edward III's own military campaigns often showcased the ideal of chivalry. For instance, his victory at the Battle of Crecy in 1346 demonstrated English knights' unwavering commitment to their code. Despite the chaos of war, knights were expected to uphold their chivalric ideals. For example, Sir William Montague's capture during the Battle of Sluys in 1340 highlighted the importance of ransom and the treatment of prisoners. The notion of ransoming captured knights was deeply ingrained in the chivalric code, a testament to the balance between military might and ethical behavior. The Order of the Garter, with its symbolic garter, became a tangible embodiment of chivalry's enduring legacy. Heraldry, the ancient art of using distinctive symbols to represent families and their lineages, played a crucial role in medieval society. These symbols, known as coats of arms or insignia, adorned everything from shields to banners and even personal belongings. In a world where illiteracy was common, heraldic symbols served as a visual language, instantly recognizable and conveying status and allegiance. For instance, a knight's coat of arms could indicate his noble lineage and military prowess, making it an essential part of medieval pageantry. This humble piece of clothing, once seen as a mark of chivalry and honor among knights, became the order's most recognizable emblem. The garter's simplicity and familiarity made it a powerful symbol of the order's values: honor, service, and chivalry. Under Henry VIII, the order became more about royal power than personal virtue. Membership expanded to include favored courtiers, reflecting the monarch's growing influence. By the 18th century, the order faced questions of relevance. Critics saw it as outdated and exclusive. However, George III revitalized the order by emphasizing its historic significance. While the Order of the Garter faced scrutiny in later centuries, its origins lie deeply rooted in the medieval concept of courtly love. In the 14th century, chivalry was not merely about martial prowess, but also deeply influenced by the ideals of courtly love. Courtly love emphasized noble, romantic ideals that shaped the behavior of knights and ladies alike. This tradition involved knights serving ladies, often unattainable ones, to prove their valor and devotion. Ladies in this context were not just objects of affection but inspirational figures who motivated knights' honorable conduct. Through centuries of tradition and ritual, the order has maintained its connection to these medieval values, making it a timeless tribute to courtly love. Religion has been a profound force shaping medieval society, including the codes of chivalry that guided knights in their quests and battles. The code of chivalry emphasized virtues such as honor, courage, and loyalty, qualities deeply rooted in the teachings of Christianity. Saints like St. George were revered for their exemplary lives and selfless acts, inspiring knights to embody these ideals in their own pursuits. Throughout centuries, the order has remained a beacon of these medieval values, demonstrating how faith and chivalric principles intertwine to sustain its relevance. By honoring saints and embodying their virtues, knights found a deeper purpose that transcended earthly battles, binding them to timeless spiritual aspirations. This interplay of faith and chivalry has ensured the order's enduring appeal, maintaining its connection to medieval values despite the passage of time. Knightly tournaments were more than mere competitions. They embodied the essence of medieval chivalry and valor. In an era where martial prowess was paramount, these events showcased the skills and courage of knights, captivating audiences with displays of horsemanship, archery, and hand-to-hand combat. While tournaments of valor showcased martial prowess, literary traditions shaped the very essence of chivalry and honor in medieval times. These tales not only entertained, but also instilled values that would later be embodied by institutions like the Order of the Garter. Arthurian romances, for instance, were immensely popular, weaving tales of King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table. These stories epitomized ideals such as loyalty, courage, and honor. One particularly influential work was Sir Thomas Malory's Le Morte d'Arthur, which compiled various Arthurian legends into a cohesive narrative. The Knights of the Round Table, in Malory's account, represented an elite group bound by a common code of conduct and dedicated to defending the realm. Such stories resonated deeply with medieval society, shaping perceptions of knighthood and chivalric ideals. He sought to create an order that would embody these very ideals, a select group dedicated to upholding the highest standards of chivalry and valor. This humble origin story adds a layer of human touch to the prestigious order, highlighting the values it upholds, loyalty and honor in even the simplest of acts. Over centuries, the order has continued to honor these literary traditions by selecting members who exemplify the qualities lauded in Arthurian tales. The annual procession at Windsor Castle serves as a modern echo of these medieval traditions, celebrating the continuity of values passed down through generations. As we see the order's enduring legacy, it becomes clear that literary traditions played a crucial role in perpetuating the values and lore surrounding this distinguished institution. Chivalric orders originating in medieval Europe were associations of knights bound by a code of conduct and honored for their bravery and loyalty. These early fraternities played a significant role in shaping the culture and values of the time. King Arthur's legendary Knights of the Round Table served as an inspiration, embodying ideals of chivalry such as honor, courage, and service to others. Before the Order of the Garter was established, there were other notable chivalric orders, each with its unique rituals and symbols. For instance, the Knights Templar, founded in 1119, were known for their dedication to protecting pilgrims on their journey to Jerusalem. They adorned a red cross on their white tunics, symbolizing their vow of poverty and martyrdom in the name of Christianity. Another early order was the Knights Hospitaller, established around 1099, which focused on caring for sick and injured pilgrims in hospitals they built along travel routes. This legacy has endured through centuries, with members honoring the traditions laid down by their predecessors. Heraldry played a pivotal role in the medieval world, serving as both an artistic and practical form of communication. It was through heraldry that knights conveyed their lineage, achievements, and allegiances. This visual language, adorned on shields, banners, and even clothing, offered a glimpse into the complex social hierarchies of the time. Throughout centuries, the Order of the Garter has retained its prestige, with new knights and ladies being inducted and the tradition passed on. The heraldic symbols remain as significant today as they were in medieval times. This chapter underscores how heraldry was integral to creating a visual and symbolic identity for the Order of the Garter, contributing to its enduring legacy. This ceremony serves as a poignant reminder that, despite the passage of time, the essence and symbolism of the Order of the Garter persists through its heraldic emblems. The constant state of warfare during this period shaped the ideals of chivalry, emphasizing not just military prowess, but also honor, loyalty, and moral virtue among knights. During these years, the concept of chivalry evolved to encompass more than just battlefield prowess. It became a code that bound knights to principles of honor and service. Throughout the 100 Years' War, the order served as a beacon of unity and morale, reminding knights of their higher calling beyond battlefield victories. Despite setbacks and shifting fortunes in war, the order's enduring legacy demonstrates how chivalric ideals persisted through centuries of conflict. This continuity reminds us that even amidst strife, traditions rooted in honor and service can withstand the test of time. It's the 14th century, and Europe is captivated by tales of heroism and valor. Among these legends, one stands out: Arthurian legend. King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table embody ideals of chivalry and knighthood that resonate deeply with medieval society. These tales are filled with stories of valor, loyalty, and courage, qualities that were highly prized in a time when honor was paramount. And so, through centuries, the Order of the Garter endures as a testament to how medieval romanticism and legendary traditions can contribute to lasting ideals of honor and service. The medieval Crusades, a series of religious wars sanctioned by the Latin Church, were pivotal moments in European history that deeply influenced the establishment and evolution of chivalric orders like the Order of the Garter. These wars were launched with the goal of recapturing Jerusalem from Muslim control, beginning in 1096 and lasting until the mid-13th century. The Crusades not only reshaped political boundaries, but also transformed medieval society by bringing back new cultural and martial ideals from the East. Knights returning from these expeditions carried tales of chivalry and honor, which resonated deeply with European nobility. Another notable order, the Teutonic Knights, founded in 1198, was initially tasked with caring for German pilgrims and later expanded into a powerful military force. These chivalric orders served as models of service, honor, and devotion to principles that were widely admired across Europe. The Order of the Garter, established in 1348, embodied these ideals by honoring knights who demonstrated exceptional public service and chivalric spirit. As the Order of the Garter was established, its foundations reach back to a tradition central to knightly life: tournaments. Medieval tournaments were not mere spectacles, but training grounds for real combat and displays of skill. Knights gathered from across the realm to test their mettle in jousts, melees, and archery competitions. The clash of lances and the thunderous hooves of charging steeds echoed through the tournament fields. These contests honed their reflexes and strengthened their resolve in battle, embodying the spirit of chivalry. Beyond combat skills, tournaments fostered a sense of camaraderie and honor among knights. Knights pledged their loyalty to one another and upheld the chivalric codes of conduct. These gatherings reinforced the knights' commitment to service and valor, values that would come to define orders like the Garter. Thus, tournaments laid the groundwork for chivalric ideals that would be celebrated and maintained through such orders. As knights competed in these tournaments, they forged a bond that transcended individual battles and became a symbol of unity. This medieval tradition of chivalry was not merely about honor and valor, it was deeply rooted in political motivations. Chivalric orders like the Order of the Garter were tools used to consolidate power and build alliances among the nobility. He aimed to strengthen his authority by creating a brotherhood of elite knights sworn to uphold the same ideals. This was a shrewd political maneuver that not only bolstered his image, but also fostered loyalty among his supporters. Historically, similar political motivations drove the establishment of other chivalric orders. These orders were not just symbols of nobility, but also instruments of power and allegiance. The Order of the Garter has endured for centuries because it continues to serve its original purpose, a symbol of unity and loyalty that transcends individual conflicts. Political considerations played a crucial role in its founding and have been instrumental in its enduring success. Throughout history, other chivalric orders have been modeled after the Order of the Garter. For example, the Spanish Order of the Golden Fleece and the French Order of St. Michael were both inspired by the Garter. Modern knightly traditions often reflect the enduring influence of the Order of the Garter. In contemporary honor systems, chivalry is still celebrated as a symbol of service and valor. The enduring influence of the Order of the Garter is evident in how knighthood continues to be associated with these timeless ideals. This strategic union played a crucial role in funding his military campaigns, particularly during the 100 Years' War with France. The conflict was not just about territory, but also about dynastic claims and allegiances. The order served as a symbol of allegiance and chivalry, uniting the king's most trusted companions under a common banner. It was a visible sign of the bonds that held medieval society together. Over time, the Order of the Garter evolved to include not just knights, but also distinguished figures from foreign courts, known as stranger knights. This practice further solidified England's diplomatic ties and maintained the Order's relevance. This annual ritual serves as a reminder of the timeless ideals that the Order represents: allegiance, chivalry, and the enduring bonds that have shaped medieval history. De Troyes' tales, for instance, emphasize the virtues of courage and loyalty in knighthood. These themes resonated deeply with Edward III, who sought to honor these values within his new order. Geoffrey of Monmouth's writings also highlighted the importance of chivalry in maintaining social order and protecting the innocent. This order aimed to celebrate and perpetuate the chivalric ideals that had been immortalized in literature. The founding members included Edward III himself and a select group of noblemen who exemplified the virtues celebrated in these stories. The order's motto, Honi soit qui mal y pense, chamed be he who thinks evil of it, underscored the importance of honor and integrity in knighthood. Over time, this medieval tradition has endured, attracting new members who continue to uphold these timeless values. Each year, on St. George's Day, members of the Order gather at Windsor Castle to celebrate their shared heritage and renew their commitment to these ideals. It is through these continued traditions that the legacy of King Arthur and his knights continues to inspire generations. Edward III's lineage was marked by ambition and strategic marriages that aimed to strengthen his claim to the French throne, a heritage that shaped his actions and aspirations. At the core of this dynasty was a deep respect for chivalry and the ideals it represented: loyalty, bravery, and honor. Edward III's choice to honor St. George with this prestigious order underscores the importance of lineage and heritage in his decision-making. Through this order, he not only celebrated his own royal lineage, but also set a foundation for future generations to embody these same values. From its inception, the Order of the Garter has been steeped in ceremony and tradition. King Edward III, inspired by tales of King Arthur's Knights of the Round Table, sought to establish a chivalrous order that would not only honor his own royal lineage, but also set a foundation for future generations. The annual Garter ceremony, held each June at Windsor Castle, has been a cornerstone of this tradition. The medieval era was a time of grandeur and pageantry, where lavish ceremonies, tournaments, and festivals were the lifeblood of courtly life. Courtly life in medieval times revolved around grand displays of power and honor. Knights would compete in tournaments to showcase their skills and valor. These events were more than just spectacles. They embodied the chivalric ideals that knights sought to uphold. The prestige gained from these displays could elevate a knight's status and bring him closer to the king's inner circle. One such grand ceremony was the creation of orders of chivalry, which honored knights for their valor and loyalty. The annual Garter ceremony at Windsor Castle continues to celebrate these values, maintaining a tradition over 7 centuries old. The allure of chivalry, with its codes of honor and valor, has long captivated the imagination. In medieval France, several prestigious orders had been established, each embodying distinct ideals and rituals. One such order was the Order of the Star, founded by Louis IX in 1239. This order emphasized piety and purity, with its members wearing a star-shaped badge as a symbol of their devotion to noble values. Another influential French order was the Order of the Lily, established by Philip VI in 1328. It celebrated the virtues of courage and loyalty, with lilies serving as its emblematic flower. The early rituals and ceremonies of the Order of the Garter were heavily influenced by the French traditions. The order emphasized honor, loyalty, and devotion to noble ideals, much like its French counterparts. The earliest known use of these symbols dates back to the late 12th century, when knights wore crests on their helmets to distinguish themselves in tournaments. Over time, these symbols evolved into complex systems known as coats of arms, which conveyed not only a knight's identity, but also his lineage and achievements. The choice of St. George's Cross as the primary symbol for the Order of the Garter is particularly telling. The red cross on a white field, now synonymous with England, was adopted as an emblem of these noble qualities. This heraldic symbol has endured through centuries, appearing not only on the Garter, but also in various national and military insignia. The resilience of these heraldic symbols lies in their ability to evoke a sense of continuity with the past, maintaining the medieval values they represent. Today, St. George's Cross continues to be a potent emblem of English identity and chivalric tradition, a testament to the enduring power of medieval heraldry. The concept of chivalry originated in medieval France and was further developed by English authors during the 14th century, a period often referred to as the Age of Chivalry. This era saw an increase in the production of romantic tales that glorified the virtues of knights. One of the most influential works was Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, written around 1375 by an unknown author. This poem explores themes of honor, loyalty, and the code of chivalric behavior. The story follows Sir Gawain as he accepts a challenge from the mysterious Green Knight, setting in motion a series of events that test his courage and honor. In another famous work, Chrétien de Troyes' Lancelot, the knight is depicted as the epitome of chivalric virtues, embodying qualities like bravery, loyalty, and devotion to a lady. Edward III, who reigned from 1327 to 1377, was known for his admiration of these chivalric ideals and sought to embody them himself. The founding of this order was a deliberate attempt to perpetuate the ideals of knighthood promoted in medieval literature, ensuring that they would continue to be honored and practiced. Medieval literature not only entertained, but also shaped the values and ideals that continue to be celebrated today, with the Order of the Garter serving as a living testament to this legacy. Edward III's rise to prominence was fueled by his strategic victories in battles such as Crécy and Poitiers. At the Battle of Crécy in 1346, Edward's forces decimated a much larger French army using innovative tactics. The use of the longbow by English archers proved decisive, raining down arrows with such speed and force that the French cavalry was virtually obliterated. This victory not only demonstrated Edward's military prowess, but also solidified his belief in the importance of skilled knighthood. 2 years later, at Poitiers in 1348, Edward captured King John II of France, further cementing his reputation as a formidable warrior. These triumphs would inspire Edward III to establish the Order of the Garter, an institution that honored exceptional knightly achievement and chivalry. Edward III envisioned the order as a way to perpetuate the values of courage, loyalty, and honor displayed on the battlefield. The blue velvet garter worn by knights and ladies of the order serves as a visible reminder of this tradition, reflecting Edward's vision of a chivalrous society. This practice was not merely ceremonial, but held significant diplomatic significance. It served to bolster alliances and demonstrate England's international influence. This gesture signified a thaw in hostilities and marked a step towards reconciliation between the two nations, demonstrating how such appointments could serve as symbolic gestures of peace. Moreover, the order was not restricted to European monarchs alone. Foreign dignitaries from beyond the continent were also honored with membership. For example, in 1394, Emperor Emmanuel II Palaeologus of Byzantium was bestowed the honor of becoming a Knight of the Garter by King Richard II. These international appointments underscored England's role as a key diplomatic player in medieval Europe and solidified its standing on the global stage. Even today, this tradition persists. Selected foreign monarchs continue to be inducted into the order, highlighting its enduring diplomatic significance. This legacy reflects Edward III's vision of a chivalrous society, one where diplomacy and honor intertwine to forge lasting bonds across borders. Beyond the grandeur of ceremonies and heraldic displays, the Order of the Garter was born from a deeply rooted cultural idea: chivalry. In the medieval world, chivalric texts such as the Song of Rolands and Romance of the Rose were not merely tales but blueprints for noble conduct. Through these texts, the ideal knight was envisioned as a paragon of virtue, ready to defend both his kingdom and its principles. The influence of chivalric literature on Edward III is clear in his establishment of the Order of the Garter. By creating this order, he aimed to foster a society where these chivalrous ideals were not just revered, but also actively practiced. Medieval robes were likely simple and functional, designed for practicality rather than ornamentation. However, as ceremonies became more elaborate, so did the attire associated with the order. Today, knights companion don splendid robes of rich blue velvet trimmed with ermine and lined with white taffeta for formal events, a far cry from their medieval counterparts. The order's insignia, such as the Collar of Essays, has undergone similar transformations. What once was a simple garment worn around the neck is now an ornate piece of jewelry. The blue color of the garter signifies constancy and loyalty, while the motto serves as a constant reminder of the order's ethos. Through these adaptations, the Regalia of the Order of the Garter stands as a testament to both continuity and evolution in medieval traditions. It serves as a striking example of how ancient customs can endure by embracing the present while honoring the past. This journey through time illustrates that even as styles and ceremonies shift, the fundamental values and significance of such traditions remain steadfast. The Battle of Crecy was a turning point that showcased Edward's military ingenuity and his army's superior archery skills. Edward's forces at Crecy were estimated to be around 13,000 men, while the French army numbered over 30,000. Yet, despite being outnumbered 2-1, Edward's strategic placement and effective use of longbowmen turned the tide of battle. 2 years after Crecy, in 1346, Edward's forces again clashed with the French at Poitiers. At Poitiers, King Philip VI of France was captured, marking a significant blow to the French monarchy and further strengthening Edward's military reputation. These victories not only demonstrated Edward III's military acumen, but also underscored the importance of chivalric values in warfare. Edward understood that the ideal of knighthood honor, courage, and loyalty was a powerful force on and off the battlefield. Through this order, Edward sought to honor not just military valor, but also the enduring values that knighthood embodied. In this epic, chivalry is celebrated as the highest ideal of knighthood, encompassing qualities such as courage, honor, and generosity. The tale of Sir Lancelot, for instance, extols the virtues of loyalty and selfless service to one's liege lord. These stories did not merely entertain, they provided a moral compass for the medieval nobility. And so, through chivalric literature, the medieval ideals of honor and courage have been kept alive for centuries. In the heart of medieval Europe, chivalry was not merely a code of conduct, but an exalted ideal. It encompassed knightly duties, valor in battle, and courtly love. French chivalric traditions, with their emphasis on romanticized ideals and grand ceremonies, held significant sway across the continent. However, English knighthood had its own distinct character, grounded in practicality and martial prowess. This blend of French romanticism and English pragmatism set the stage for a unique tradition that would endure for centuries. But what drove Edward III to establish this order? The answer lies in the influence of French chivalric practices and ideals on his approach to knighthood. French chivalry emphasized grand tournaments, elaborate ceremonies, and the romantic pursuit of an unattainable lady. These ideals resonated with Edward III's vision for a distinguished order that would embody both martial excellence and courtly refinement. Edward III's creation of the Garter, with its emphasis on chivalric ideals and ceremonial grandeur, reflected his desire to align England with the cultural sophistication and romanticism of France. Yet the order retained a distinctly English character. its members were chosen not just for their chivalric virtues, but also for their service to the crown and the nation. Thus, the Order of the Garter emerged as a unique blend, French chivalric ideals married with English martial traditions. This fusion has ensured its enduring significance and allure. As we observe this tradition, we see how the influence of French chivalry and English knightly traditions have woven together a tapestry that continues to captivate centuries later. As knightly tournaments evolved, they transformed from displays of individual prowess into grand spectacles that celebrated collective chivalric ideals. From the 12th century onwards, these events became increasingly popular across Europe, drawing not only the knights themselves, but also large crowds of spectators. Initially, tournaments were seen as opportunities for individual knights to demonstrate their martial skills and valor on the battlefield. However, over time, these competitions began to shift towards a more collective spirit, emphasizing not just individual heroism, but also the bonds of brotherhood among knights. The transformation was gradual, driven by the emergence of chivalric ideals that emphasize unity and loyalty within the ranks of the knighthood. By the 14th century, tournaments had become elaborate festivities where groups of knights would gather to compete as a single unit, symbolizing their allegiance and mutual support. These changes were not mere formalities. They reflected a deep cultural shift that resonated deeply with the knights and the public alike. The order was designed to recognize and honor those who embodied the highest ideals of knighthood, loyalty, courage, and service to the crown. By creating this distinguished order, Edward III ensured that the spirit of collective chivalry would continue to be celebrated and upheld within his realm. The evolution of knightly tournaments provided a rich backdrop for the founding of the Order of the Garter, highlighting how the collective ideals of chivalry could be honored through such a prestigious association. And so, this medieval tradition has endured for centuries, carrying forward the values that once echoed across tournament fields and now reside in the hallowed halls of Windsor Castle. In the medieval world, the concept of courtly love was a driving force behind many chivalric practices and literary works. This romantic ideal, popularized by poets like Dante and Chrétien de Troyes, celebrated devotion and service to a beloved lady, often a noblewoman who was already married or otherwise unattainable. King Arthur's Court of Knights, as portrayed in medieval literature, epitomized this ideal of chivalry bound by love and loyalty. In these tales, the knight's devotion to his lady was not merely romantic, but also a source of inspiration for heroic deeds. The Order of the Garter was created to honor those who embodied the highest ideals of chivalry, with the symbolism of a garter or strap used by knights signifying their dedication and loyalty. These stories served as models for real-life knights who aspired to live by the same principles of courtly love and chivalry. The enduring legacy of the Order of the Garter demonstrates how medieval ideals have persisted through the centuries, shaping modern notions of honor and service. And so, we see that the founding of this medieval tradition was deeply rooted in the romantic and chivalric ideals of courtly love. The Battle of Crécy, fought in 1346, is a prime example. Despite being outnumbered, Edward III's forces decimated the French army, thanks largely to the skill and discipline of his English archers. This victory not only secured strategic territory, but also demonstrated the power of well-trained, dedicated knights. The prowess displayed at Crécy left a deep impression on Edward III. The following year, at Poitiers in 1347, the English army once again proved its mettle against a larger French force. King John II of France was captured, and his son, the future King Charles V, was held for ransom. Edward had been exposed to these practices during his campaigns on French soil, where the ideals of honor and valor were deeply ingrained in the culture. This French influence resonated with Edward, who sought to instill similar values among his own knights. Centuries later, the order continues to honor these timeless principles, reflecting the enduring legacy of French influence on English chivalry. In the medieval period, a culture of knightly tournaments emerged as a central element of European court life. These contests were more than just displays of skill and martial prowess. They embodied the spirit of chivalry and the ideal of the noble knight. Knightly tournaments were grand spectacles that included jousting, swordplay, and archery competitions, often held in lavish settings to celebrate important occasions. The victors of these contests were not merely winners. They became symbols of courage and valor, embodying the highest ideals of knighthood. The order's rituals and ceremonies reflect this medieval heritage, maintaining the reverence for knightly valor that was first celebrated in tournaments. One of his most significant alliances was with France, where his mother was born. Through this connection, Edward III sought to secure territorial claims in Europe. His marriage to Philippa of Hainault further solidified ties with the French court. This alliance brought financial and political benefits, but it also meant navigating complex diplomatic waters. These strategic alliances shaped how Edward III viewed chivalry and knighthood. He saw the need for a symbol of unity and honor to bind his disparate allies. He envisioned an order that would embody these ideals and serve as a beacon of medieval values. The rituals and symbolism of the Order of the Garter were carefully crafted to reflect these chivalric ideals. The garter itself, often associated with the lady's garter or knight's armor straps, is a symbol of courtly love and loyalty. Across medieval Europe, chivalric orders thrived as symbols of nobility and valor. Among these were the French Order of the Star and the Spanish Order of the Band, both of which held significant influence in their respective regions. The Order of the Garter quickly became a cornerstone of English chivalry, drawing inspiration from these European precedents while carving out its unique identity. In medieval heraldry, colors held deep significance. Blue, for instance, was often associated with loyalty, truth, and constancy. Over time, the blue garter has taken on various interpretations, from a knight's oath to a badge of honor. Yet its essence remains constant, a testament to chivalry and loyalty. The ritualistic aspect of the blue garter is what has sustained the order for centuries. It is not just an accessory, but a living symbol of medieval chivalry and honor. So, as we delve deeper into the traditions of the Order of the Garter, we find that the blue garter is more than just a piece of cloth. It is a symbol woven into the very fabric of English chivalry. In this sense, the blue garter represents not only the order's past, but also its enduring spirit, a legacy that continues to inspire loyalty and honor among its members. In the medieval period, the art of heraldry was undergoing significant transformations. These innovations included the development of complex coat of arms, where symbols and colors carried deep meaning and significance. The use of heraldic mottos, such as the legendary Honi soit qui mal y pense, also became prevalent. The blue garter itself was a heraldic innovation that held special significance, symbolizing the bonds of fellowship and loyalty among members. This ancient art form provided a framework for Edward III to create a lasting tradition that would endure through centuries. In this sense, heraldic innovations played a crucial role in shaping the symbolism and rituals of the Order of the Garter. Courtly love, a concept popularized by the French troubadours, emphasized romantic ideals and chivalric virtues. This notion of courtly love involved the idealization of a woman and the knight's devotion to her, often expressed through poetry and song. The ceremonial aspects of the French court, such as the formal tournaments and lavish banquets, also found their way into the rituals of the order. These French influences helped create a more sophisticated and nuanced interpretation of chivalric ideals. This symbolic garter embodied the French courtly tradition of a token of affection from a lady to her knight. The integration of these French courtly traditions into the Order of the Garter has enriched its rituals and symbols with a deep cultural resonance. Through these traditions, the order has maintained its relevance over centuries, continuing to embody the highest ideals of chivalry and refinement. One such alliance was the Treaty of Windsor, signed with King Afonso IV of Portugal in 1373. This pact was no mere formality, it was a testament to Edward's vision and foresight. Under the terms of this agreement, Portugal pledged support for England against the French. In return, Edward promised protection and aid to Portugal's own interests. The strategic importance of this alliance cannot be overstated. It not only bolstered England's position in the complex web of European politics, but also laid the groundwork for future cooperation. Edward's diplomatic prowess did not stop at shores of Britain. He also cultivated alliances with the powerful kingdoms of Castile and Aragon in Spain. These Spanish allies played a vital role in Edward's grand strategy to isolate France and weaken its influence throughout the continent. The prestige and honor bestowed by this new order reflected not only Edward's personal ambition, but also his vision for a stronger England within Europe's power dynamics. Through these carefully nurtured relationships and alliances, Edward ensured that the order would not only become a symbol of English chivalry, but also one recognized across Europe. This diplomatic tapestry underscores the significance of medieval politics in shaping enduring traditions like the Order of the Garter. As the centuries unfolded, this tradition of chivalry and international cooperation continued to evolve, adapting to the changing political climate. One such artistic expression was the poetry that glorified chivalric ideals. Works like Sir Gawain and the Green Knights depicted knights as paragons of virtue, loyalty, and honor. Songs and ballads also played a significant role in perpetuating these ideals. Bards would sing tales of brave knights rescuing damsels or embarking on perilous journeys. These musical narratives not only entertained audiences, but also reinforced the notion of knights as protectors and upholders of justice. Visual arts too contributed to this cultural milieu. Paintings and tapestries often depicted scenes from Arthurian legend, with knights clad in their signature garters. The influence of these courtly arts extended beyond the founding of the order. As new knights were inducted into the Garter, they would be reminded of the storied traditions that preceded them. Thus, through poetry, song, and visual art, the cultural ethos of chivalry was preserved and perpetuated, ensuring that the values of the Order of the Garter endured for centuries. Christianity, with its emphasis on faith, piety, and service, permeated the medieval world. The tenets of Christianity were not merely religious beliefs, they were a lens through which life was viewed and lived. For knights, this meant that chivalry was more than just martial prowess or courtly manners. It encompassed a spiritual calling to uphold moral virtues and serve the divine will. The concept of piety, or devotion to God, was central to knightly conduct. Knights were expected to live their lives in accordance with Christian principles, which included qualities such as humility, courage, and compassion. This spiritual aspect of chivalry was not merely a theoretical ideal. It was embodied in the daily lives and deeds of the knights. They were expected to be not just skilled warriors, but also devout followers of Christ. The annual celebration of the Order of the Garter on St. George's Day further emphasized this spiritual connection, aligning the knight's duties with divine service and moral rectitude. Over centuries, as the Order of the Garter evolved, these spiritual dimensions remained integral to its ethos. The knights were not just elite members of a prestigious club, they were moral exemplars embodying the highest Christian ideals. In this sense, the Order of the Garter was more than just a reflection of medieval chivalry. It was an embodiment of the spiritual and moral aspirations of its time. Thus, through its adherence to these profound spiritual ideals, the Order of the Garter has endured not just as a historical relic, but as a living testament to the timeless values that shaped its foundation. And so, as we journey back through time, we see how the spiritual dimensions of chivalry in Edward III's reign have left an indelible mark on the Order of the Garter, ensuring that its values and traditions continue to resonate through the centuries. French chivalric ideas, with their emphasis on courtly love and honor, began to permeate English courtly life during Edward III's reign. The concept of the lady's garter, a symbol often associated with French nobility, became particularly influential. This symbolism was not merely decorative, it represented ideals of chivalry and honor, resonating deeply with English nobility as well. Through these rituals and symbols, the Order of the Garter has preserved and honored the spirit of medieval chivalry, ensuring that its traditions remain vibrant even today. In the midst of the 100 Years' War, King Edward III of England was facing a formidable challenge. The conflict, spanning over a century and marked by shifting alliances and military strategies, shaped the political landscape of medieval Europe. During Edward III's reign, French literature was filled with tales of knightly prowess and courtly love. These stories emphasized the ideal of the noble knight who was not only skilled in battle, but also devoted to his lady. This tale recounted the adventures of King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, highlighting their quests for honor and chivalry. Another influential text was Lancelot du Lac, which focused on the love between Lancelot and Guinevere. These stories resonated deeply with the medieval nobility, including Edward III. Inspired by these ideals, Edward III sought to establish an order that would celebrate and uphold the values of chivalry. This order, named after a lady's garter or the straps that secured knights' armor, became a symbol of England's commitment to chivalry. Edward III's admiration for French court culture was sparked by the refined elegance and chivalric ideals he encountered during his visits. The French court, known for its grandeur and sophistication, embodied the epitome of medieval chivalry. One notable event that underscored this influence was Edward III's participation in a grand tournament held at Rennes in Brittany. This tournament showcased the finest knights and their skills, highlighting the importance of chivalric prowess. At Rennes, Edward witnessed firsthand the valor and grace of French knights as they competed in various contests of skill and bravery. This spectacle left a deep impression on him, solidifying his respect for the French court's ideals. Inspired by these encounters, Edward III sought to emulate the chivalric traditions he admired. He recognized that establishing a similar order in England could elevate his kingdom's status and reinforce its commitment to chivalry. In the 14th century, the tales of King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table resonated deeply with the nobility. These stories, filled with chivalry and heroism, provided an ideal model for kings seeking to elevate their realms. Edward III was particularly captivated by these legends, seeing in them a blueprint for his own kingdom. Courtly love poems and chivalric romances further enriched the medieval literary landscape. These works celebrated the virtues of honor, courage, and loyalty, echoing the qualities exemplified by Arthur's knights. Inspired by these literary traditions, Edward III recognized the opportunity to create an order that embodied these noble ideals. The Crusades, a series of military campaigns led by European powers to reclaim the Holy Land, significantly shaped medieval knightly culture. These expeditions brought together warriors from across Europe, fostering a shared sense of purpose and camaraderie. The Crusaders' experiences abroad, particularly the chivalric ideals they encountered in the Middle East, had a profound impact on European traditions. The literary traditions surrounding these knights highlighted the importance of loyalty and honor, values that resonated with Edward III's vision for chivalry. The Crusades not only introduced new military techniques but also exposed European knights to the rituals and symbols of the Eastern world. Edward III drew upon these influences to establish an order that embodied both the martial prowess of the Crusaders and the chivalric ideals he admired. This order celebrated the virtues of loyalty, courage, and service values that were forged on the battlefields of the Crusades. The notion of courtly love, so central in French culture, resonated deeply with the idealism of medieval knights. In this world, a knight's devotion to his lady was as sacred as his duty on the battlefield. This delicate balance between martial prowess and romantic pursuit became the essence of chivalry. The French obsession with heraldry, the art of creating and displaying coats of arms, was another influence that found its way into the Garter. The Order of the Garter continues to celebrate these values, ensuring that the spirit of medieval chivalry lives on in modern times. French texts like Le Roman de la Rose and Le Livre de la Chasse were treasured for their depictions of noble ideals and courtly love. These stories captured the essence of medieval romance and valor, themes that would come to define the Order of the Garter. In Le Roman de la Rose, the pursuit of an idealized lady embodies the chivalric quest for perfection. This concept resonated deeply with Edward III, who sought to emulate such ideals in his own court. Le Livre de la Chasse by Gaston Phoebus delves into the intricacies of chivalry, emphasizing honor, courage, and loyalty. These virtues became the cornerstone of the order, reflecting Edward III's desire to uphold these noble values among his knights. Edward III's vision for the order was not merely an English invention, but a reflection of broader European chivalric ideals. By drawing inspiration from these French texts, he aimed to create a fraternity that embodied the highest standards of medieval knighthood. The traditions and values espoused in these texts have been passed down through generations of knights, creating a living legacy that honors both the medieval past and the modern present. As we observe the rituals and ceremonies of the order today, we can see echoes of those ancient ideals brought to life in each ceremony, each investiture, and every gathering of knights. These French chivalric texts not only inspired but also enriched the vision for the Order of the Garter, providing a robust framework that has stood the test of time. In the medieval courts of France, tournaments were not merely displays of martial prowess, but also opportunities for knights to prove their courage and skill in battle-like scenarios. These spectacles often culminated in grand ceremonies, where the most valiant competitors were honored with symbolic garlands or ribbons, a tradition that echoed the Greek and Roman practices of crowning victors with wreaths. Edward III, who was well-versed in these French customs through his mother's French lineage, sought to emulate and formalize this system of recognition within his own realm. Over time, however, the Order of the Garter adapted and evolved its rituals, integrating elements from English traditions to create a unique blend that has endured for centuries.